Hey everybody, welcome to the Home Birthified Labor Recap Part 3. This is the part where I'm going to answer some of the questions and comments that I've had, both left here on YouTube in the comments and on my inbox and on my Facebook page. So I'm going to start right away, and the first question I got was, did you exercise during pregnancy? I did. I wouldn't profess to say that I exercised a ton. Basically what I did this time was aquasize. So I did a prenatal aquasize class 1 hour a week for about 10 weeks from the time that I was about 27 weeks along. Once I got to the end at 37 weeks, it was just a little too much for me. And as you can hear, I'm breastfeeding right now because that's the only time I could find to make this video. So yeah, I did about an hour a week of that. I did some occasional prenatal yoga, but it's mostly my own self-practice. I'm not really good at keeping up with my yoga. And then just the general walking around. I walk a lot when I'm working, so a lot of my physical activity, because it's such a physical job, that's where a lot of my physical activity came from. I had another question about how long my labor was. It was 3 hours and 30 minutes from the time that contractions actually really started until the placenta was delivered, with the last 20 minutes waiting for the placenta to come out. So compared to my other labors, it's only about 15 minutes faster than my second, and it's a whole lot faster than my first, because that was about 7 hours from first contraction until having him. The only big difference was that I really didn't have any early labor this time. Once contractions started, it seemed to be every 3 to 4 minutes and a minute long from the get-go. What did I do to cope with contractions mentally? So with my second labor, because I had read Spiritual Midwifery or Guide to Childbirth by Ina May Gaskin, I can't remember which, she had a story in there about a client who she was joking with that her cervix was going to get huge. And after the labor, Ina May asked her how she coped so well. And Ina May said, the client said to Ina May that, well, I just used the mantra that you gave me. And then when Ina May asked her what the mantra was, it was, you're going to get huge. So for my second labor, I used that as a focus phrase, and then I also used the horse lips that she recommends, because loose lips and jaws equals a loose cervix. And yeah, so I used that for my second labor, and I found I used that again for Arlo's birth. And then the other thing I really found I focused on was the prayer flags, but specifically there was one phrase, the "We Are Connected" affirmation, that I really liked. So that reads, "My baby knows my heartbeat, my breathing, my voice, and my love. We are connected." And I didn't necessarily say the whole phrase the entire time, but I definitely focused on the "we are connected" part. And so as I was kneeling and leaning over the side of the pool and focusing on my husband's warm hands on my back, I tended to repeat that phrase in my head as I was doing horse lips. The next question is, did I have a dilation check before I started pushing? Nope, I just, once I felt the need, once I felt the spontaneous need to push, my midwife just let me go with it. And I'm assuming that's because I've pushed out 2 other babies, so I know what it feels like to need to push. But basically, when I experience the spontaneous need to push, there's nothing that's going to stop me from doing it. So even if somebody's telling me to stop pushing, it's not going to happen. So I really can't resist it at that point, and yeah, so I just went for it. Now, I will say that I did feel down there myself, to feel that the baby's head was in my birth canal, and that was more because I hadn't really done that with my other 2 babies, so I wanted to do it this time. And did I feel the baby's head? Yes, I did, obviously. I also protected my perineum myself for the first time, and so it just meant that I was feeling the baby's head the entire time, and I really quite liked it. So I once read somewhere that if you protect your own perineum, you're less likely to tear. And I haven't tore for either of my babies, but I definitely found that it helped this time. Oh, Mr. Noisy. Are you all done? Okay. We'll have a little Arlo look. See the little guy? Hey. So the next question is, why did I do a lotus birth, or why didn't I do a full lotus birth? So for people who don't know, lotus birth is where you birth the baby, you birth the placenta, you leave the baby attached to its placenta until it naturally separates at the umbilicus, or at the umbilical cord, or the belly button. And that can take up to a couple weeks, I guess, but it doesn't tend to take that long. Some people feel that it's the baby's placenta, and so we shouldn't prematurely cut that bond, because it is very bonded to the placenta. Personally, I wanted to encapsulate my placenta, and I know some people believe that you can do both a lotus birth and encapsulation, but that's not something that I personally am interested in. So yeah, little guy. So we personally chose to wait until the placenta had delivered, partially because I wanted to be able to do it, and partially because I wanted to have a more gentle separation when the time came, and partially because it made it easier for my older son to cut the cord. So we didn't have any worry about me being attached. Oh. We didn't have any worries about me being attached and sharp objects around and cramped quarters and it being tight, because my babies tend to have shorter cords. So yeah, we just decided to go with the pseudo lotus birth and then encapsulate my placenta. After pains. One of the YouTube girls asked about after pains. So third baby, I wouldn't say my after pains were worse than they were for my second. They lasted about a day and a half or 2 days. I actually felt that they were over faster this time than they were with my second. But they definitely are toe curling, and they definitely correspond with nursing, and they are definitely way worse than they ever were with my first. I wouldn't say they're horrible, but they're definitely less pleasant than labor. I mean, I don't like them, that's for sure. How many kids do we want? This is the last question. So we originally, when we started having children, oh, little muffin. When we started planning our family, we always thought that we wanted just 2 children. And then as soon as I had my second son, I knew that I wasn't done. I just knew that our family was not complete, and I wanted to have the pregnancy and birthing journey again. And no, we weren't trying for a girl. We were just trying for a baby. And yeah, for us, I just felt that 3 was a good number. Now, having had Arlo, I can tell you this much. Having my third, I do not know if I really am interested in having a fourth. I would be perfectly happy not to labor again, and I would be perfectly happy to maintain the lifestyle that we're able to maintain right now with just 3. So even though I love my midwives, I don't think my love of them is a good enough reason to bring a 4th child into the world. So I think at 3 we are done. You know, I've said it before, I grew up in a family of 4, and you know, in the hindsight, it was great. You know, we did have a great family, but I don't know if that's what I want for my family. So yeah, I think 3 is it for now, but you never know, this channel might become active again in a couple of years. So that's it. If there's any other questions, please let me know, and I will definitely make a point of responding to them.